There was a time when games didn't feel like products. They felt like worlds. Not content, not updates, not seasons. Worlds. People weren't worried about how the game was going to look, the resolution, the FPS. They were interested in the mechanics, the gameplay, the story, and characters. Games that formed you, games that made you question, games that made you feel like the last thing standing between good and destruction was just you. Games that turned ordinary nights into memories. Those games are gone. And today, I want to talk to you about why they may never return. A few days ago, I bumped into a video about the creation of Majora's Mask, one of my all-time favorite video games, and about how the process of making it and the time for the development was very small and challenging, that it had to craft a unique story and completely new mechanics to be able to release and feel like a deserving sequel to one of the best, if not the best game of all time. And with such a heavy task, only a very creative solution and a very talented team behind it made it work, and the rest is history. But it made me feel nostalgic, but not really for the game itself or the story, but for the people, for the way of thinking. You see, back then you couldn't get away with releasing a game under the guise of a beta or a live service game. Games had meaning. They had innovative mechanics and forward thinking in its core aspects.
8-bit graphics?
Yes, and a brand new Sharp LR35902 core at 4.19 MHz with 8 kilobytes internal RAM.
Impressive.
Games weren't loud. They weren't designed to trend. They weren't begging for your attention. They trusted you to stay because they made it worth your while. Because back then, you had to go harder. You had to see what your competitor was doing and either innovate or better it. You had no other choice. Games like Earthbound, Ocarina of Time, Silent Hill, Halo, Metal Gear Solid, Uncharted. These games are so delightfully different from each other, yet they are all innovative in one way or another. Whether it was the story and its elements, whether it's mechanics and gameplay, or in its storytelling, or all of the above. Games today aren't shaped by creative minds. They're shaped by boards, by projections and market forecasts, by guys in suits and not really creative minds. Not to start trends, but to follow the ones that already work. Creative risk was slowly replaced by safe formulas. Vision was replaced by optimization, and the people making the final decisions are often further and further from the game than anyone else.
Television, TV, Xbox is about to become the next water cooler.
But just look at the last decade. When Fortnite proved that a game could become a platform, a live service game could become something meaningful and really outlast every other game it's competing with. A place people return to daily. A place built around seasons, cosmetics, and constant engagement. The industry didn't just admire it, it tried to replicate it. Suddenly, many franchises that were once about stories and finite journeys began experimenting with live service structures, seasonal loops, progression tracks, and engagement systems designed to keep you inside. Different characters, different worlds, but often the same underlying chessboard, just repainted with fancier and fancier pieces. Modern gaming feels different. It's not worse, there's very good games out there right now, but it just feels different. Everything is brighter, faster, louder. Menus feel like storefronts, worlds feel like stages, and silence feels forbidden. A time to really take in the world that you are setting foot in is not as common as it was back then. Games don't really invite you anymore. They chase you. Daily challenges, season passes, timed events, not worlds, but schedules, almost like work. Old games didn't want you to stay forever. They understood that your time was limited. They wanted you to leave changed, to leave with something. You finished them, closed the book, you carried them with you. Modern games want you to never leave at all. They don't want to be remembered, they want to be revisited. Almost like a cheap TV show that just makes you laugh with cheap jokes instead of making you feel like something worth watching is in your screen. And that's the shift that really nobody talks about. From worlds to services, from places to platforms, from stories to schedules. The gaming you love didn't die loudly, it just faded quietly. Between updates, between patches, between monetization models. And maybe that's why it hurts. Because it wasn't taken from us. It simply stopped being made. And that's why the games you grew up with are gone. Not because technology failed, not because we changed, not because the soul is not there anymore, but because the world changed and the one you knew is gone. Thank you for watching.